spur just south of the Longport Jetty, and some of the more dramatic moments of the race have taken place right in the water below us with the outgoing tide. Chuck Betts and Sid Cassidy. Sid, 4 swimmers have come by here, but this current is unbelievable.
It is, and we're going to see there's a young man from Egypt, one of the finest Egyptian marathon swimmers they've had in 20 years, and his name is Mohammed Maruf. You can see his Atlantic City crew is trying to bring him in here close to the spur. I'm not sure if he understands how close he should come. The last 4 swimmers have come all the way in, as a matter of fact, grabbing rocks and pulling themselves along the way. We even saw the veteran Attila Molnar step up and take a little dolphin action a la Paul Redzitas.
Let's watch this, because this is very high drama here as these swimmers attempt to get around this spur. If the people in front of us could just get down a little bit so we could get this shot. Thank you very much. This is dramatic footage. This is why many people call this race the most grueling marathon swim in all of the world, particularly when you're trying to swim against the tide. Now, the key here, Sid, is to try and stay in close to the rocks, but you'll watch the swimmer take stroke after stroke and not make any headway.
Well, Chuck, this was certainly the safety officer's greatest fear, is what's going to happen in this area. He's doing a good job. He's one of the strongest swimmers in the world. He's barely moving. You can see him. The water is rushing in an opposite direction. This is where the swimmers grab the rocks that have already gotten by. The veterans had no problem doing that. They came in and grabbed the rocks quickly there. Now, you can see Maruf has got, now he's, okay, underneath, he's got a hand on a rock, it helps him. Now he's making it through. Believe me, though, it's not easy here. He's just moved out of the flume. He's still going to go against the current for a long, long way here.
Dramatic footage here from the Longport Jetty spur. Actually, this is a spur south of the Longport Jetty, and Sid, you called it. You said this would be the place where we would see some high drama.
Well, I'm amazed that, you know, we are now over 4.5 hours into the race. We've only had 5 men complete the Ocean Lake and no women. However, I do believe inside the Longport Jetty now and on the way to the spur is our #1 female. As we watch Maruf, he's I'm telling you, an excellent swimmer, and he's having great difficulty against this outgoing tide. I'm anxious to see how the women handle it. Peggy Boucher from Germany will be coming up next. She's an extremely strong swimmer herself. Kind of a surprise for her to be in front of Karen Burton. The young American, Rob Montgomery, the local, is also inside the Longport Jetty. We'll see if his crew of locals has a good line on getting around this extremely critical jetty, this point in the race. As we watch Mohammed kind of looking for as shallow water as possible. If he wanted to, he could certainly step right up there. He's only in about 2.5 feet deep of water as he heads off towards the Longport Bridge. It still seems a long, long way away, and we've only got 5 guys around. It could be a long afternoon back there in the bays. They're going to need all your support.
Let me ask you this, Steve. Is it almost unreasonable to expect these swimmers to do this against the tides?
Well, there's a lot of issues that have been raised by the swimmers themselves, and the safety concerns are the #1 thing. Being a newly elected member to the FINA Technical Open Water Swimming Committee, I can assure you that I did interview both the officials, the safety officer, and the race referee, and they allow that there may be a situation that they actually tell the swimmers, no, it's unsafe, we want you to grab onto your boat or get into your boat and we're going to row you around. Now, that hasn't happened down here. At the north end at Harris, it has happened before in 1994. And very similar conditions exist today, in my mind, with the southerly, even more difficult in terms of the entire field finishing. Your strong swimmers, your experienced swimmers are around. They're fighting the tide, yes, but they're back in the bay. The swimmers who have yet to clear the Longport Jetty after 4.5 hours of swimming are going to be very, very hard-pressed to finish, certainly within the time limit. Now, I see Rob Montgomery is coming around. I see another American flag. I can only guess that's Karen Burton and Rob Montgomery. I do see the German flag, Peggy Boucher now. Her boat is certainly a little bit more seaward than she is. I don't know if we can pick up.
Keep it right here as we watch the first woman hit the Longport Jetty spur, Sydney, and you're right. She is tighter into shore. Her boat is staying out, and that is the way to try to get around here.
Well, this is the German girl, and this is a great, great opportunity for her if she can get around this jetty and continue to hold the kind of lead that she has on the American Karen Burton. And I'm just guessing it's Burton at this point. I see 2 American flags, and As a matter of fact, I believe that's Burton ahead of Rob Montgomery. I can see the Ocean City red, white, and blue oars, and yep, that's the Ventnor boat. That would be Karen Burton, who is hot on the trail of our women's leader coming into the spur. Karen has done this race before. She has never experienced the kind of tides that we've had where it's been so detrimental to the speed of the swimmers, and she is somebody that's known for her strength, Chuck. She's a gutsy swimmer, and if she's not afraid to come in and bang up against some of these barnacles, she may just overtake Peggy, depending on how street smart, if you will, she gets coming around these rocks.
All right, Peggy Boucher, the first woman to make it around the Longport Jetty, and you hear John Freihofer in the background cheering her on. And she's just about to get to the most critical parts in. It'll be interesting to watch the first woman try to get around this whirlpool here on this spur just outside the Longport Jetty.
Well, as you yourself well know, Chuck, from working many downtown beaches, these jetties can be treacherous not only for the people who are in the water, but certainly the people that walk on them. We can put a public service announcement in for any of you visitors to our fine region down here in South Jersey. Do not walk on the jetties.
All right.
You know, we had an accident earlier. Here comes Peggy.
Here comes Peggy Boucher. She's coming around the jetty, and this will be a true test of her mettle and her courage and her determination. Can she make it around, fighting the outgoing tide as you watch her right here in Longport?
Okay, she had a little bit of a lull. Now she's going to be fighting it. Here's where she seems to be doing a real good job, Chuck, of staying in very, very tight. And you'll see she's got Peggy
up here at the crowd.
Yep.
Now she's caught in the current, Sid.
She sure is, but she's doing the right thing, Chuck. She's not afraid to hit that rock. She's not afraid to buoy over it. You can see that fine European stroke. She's got a nice strong finish, and yeah, that is true, Ed. That's an outstanding European suit. She's going to definitely have a good chance to hold on to this lead, but Karen Burton's not going to give up easy. Look at her. See, she's not afraid. That's a sign of an experienced marathon swimmer.
She did better getting around here than some of the men's swimmers. I thought she did an outstanding job getting around this jetty.
Well, she certainly did, and there is the fact that we're moving on in time. It's now over 4.5 hours past the start of the race, and peak tide, that is mid-tide, where the strongest currents go against you, may have actually passed us by. But we'll see as this next couple of swimmers come through. There's 3 swimmers now.
We'll keep it right here as these come around. Sid, tell us who's approaching right now.
Well, this would be Karen Burton, and Karen is the favored female in this race. I know that she did swim the last 2 weeks in a row, whereas Peggy's been off for several weeks. Peggy intentionally recharged herself, avoided the cold waters of Canada to come here to what many people favor as their favorite swim of the entire world circuit. And Karen is certainly working very hard inside here. You can see her Ventnor crew, their experience. They get her in the back bay. Anything can happen. It's a couple minutes she is behind Peggy at this point, but I don't know anybody that got around the rocks any better, like you said.
Peggy Boucher did a great job getting around these rocks, and now the challenge will fall upon the second woman, and that is...
The second woman is Karen Burton right here, and she's the American girl, and right behind her is Rob Montgomery. And beyond that, we see a crest boat, and let me see if I can get the number on that, Chuck.
All right, so we have Karen Burton here, and right behind her, the first local, Rob Montgomery, formerly of the Ocean City Beach Patrol, University of Pennsylvania. So Burton and Montgomery very close together here in this treacherous Longport Jetty spur. Actually, it's not the Longport Jetty, it's a small spur, and I got to give you credit, Sid. You said this would be some of the most dramatic footage of this grueling 22.5-mile test. Man versus man, man versus woman, woman versus woman, and everybody against nature. As you watch Karen Burton try to navigate around Absecon Island.
That's right. Karen Burton is coming in here close. You can see Rob Montgomery is also, your camera's focused on Karen. It's going to be real interesting to see how quick she comes around here. She's hitting some white water. She's got that straight arm recovery that she's been working on. We talked about the marathoners feel it's less pressure on their shoulders. This is going to be a lot of pressure on your entire body. You've got to kick it into a sprint stroke and here she goes. She's a little bit further away from the rocks right now than Boucher was, and let's see how she makes it coming around.
All right, she's coming around right now. As you'll see this footage, Tommy Skull, if we can get the people down, thank you. Johnny, get down a little bit. Here she comes. Karen Burton trying to get around the Longport Jetty Spur, and she's caught in the tide now, Sid. She's got to stay in close.
Yeah, she is caught. Here's where Boucher grabbed that rock and did a good strong swim. And you know, sometimes it does come in spurts a little bit. I know that Karen is kicking. She's making a real good effort to get through this most difficult part of the southern end of the course. Karen, of course, the currently #1 ranked female. All she needs to do is finish this race ahead of Lisa Hazen, and she'll win the overall title. I'm sure that's not in her mind right now. She's thinking, Peggy Boucher, how far ahead of me is she? She gets out of that whirlpool.
And she made it. She got around, not as easily as Peggy Boucher. And now coming around, if we can get, we'll see Rob Montgomery from Ocean City, the first local. Rob Montgomery with Billy Howarth in the back of the boat and Rob DeCipio rowing out of Ocean City. This is an entirely local crew here. And let's watch Rob Montgomery, Sid.
Well, I see Rob. I know his crew, Chip Shoop and Rob DeCipio, want him to be very close to the rocks. Bill Howarth, of course, the wily veteran, should be giving him some good advice. But it appears the locals not doing as well in getting in tight. I don't understand this, Chuck.
Look, this is Mohammed.
There's
Maroof.
Right.
We missed that. The other Egyptian. Look at Maroof. He's going to pass Rob Montgomery right here. They're actually on top of each other.
And now Maroof takes the outside. I think he's made a good move to try and stay inside.
This is unbelievable. They're both caught in the current.
Chuck, there's a big surge right now, and that's the way this tide runs. It's just like sets out in the ocean. You can sit out there as a surfer waiting for a set. What these guys are going through is a set. I think Peggy didn't get quite the same intense swell that these gentlemen are getting right now, but boy, you can see them fighting it. This is...
Rob Montgomery now tries to turn around, and Maroof's hot on his tail.
Maroof's actually lost some yardage. He's moved backwards in the last 15 seconds. There's Montgomery, not afraid to push off the rocks, keep swimming. He's tired. You know, this guy, he's gone for almost 5 hours already, and he's thinking, geez, I'm only halfway, and the tide's supposed to be worse at the other end.
He's actually crawling along here.
Right, this is where it gets scary. And these are the strong swimmers still, Chuck. We've only seen 2 women and the top men come by. Montgomery's made it through. Poor Maroof, look at him back there. He looks like he's in the USS Swimming Flume, not going anywhere.
He's looking at his boat. He's at a loss for what to do here. He simply cannot get around these rocks.
No, now he's finally come in tight, and hopefully he will be able to get something done here. I know that his crew wants him in valiantly. You're looking at the crest boat. There we go. There goes Mohammed. Now he's coming in.
All right, now we must clarify, the other Egyptian was not Mohammed Maroof that went around in 3rd place. We want to clarify that because that was Khaled M. El Sadi, who went around earlier. So we made a mistake there. We want to correct ourselves. But again, some of the most dramatic footage of this grueling 22.5-mile test right here at the Longport Jetty Spur. Chuck Betson, Sid Cassidy, take it back to Gardner's Basin. We need a break.